very good evening and a very warm welcome to State of Business on our television. I am Savindri Jayawardena. Let's look at the top stories for the day. Government warns next few hours are crucial and advises people to abide by COVID-19 health guidelines. Government extends relief measures for COVID-hit tourism sector. News in detail. The Health Ministry informs the public and organizations to refrain from organizing, promoting or conducting any event that forms a public gathering until further notice. Meanwhile, police curfew has been imposed for 4 police divisions, namely Minuwangoda, Divulapitiya, Veyangoda and Gampaha. Early this morning, Health Ministry announced that another 220 Minuwangoda garment factory workers had been tested positive for COVID-19, making the total number of workers tested positive to 323. However, within a shorter period, they also announced that another 246 employees of the same factory were tested positive for COVID-19, increasing the total number of cases from the cluster to 569 today. By 4 p.m. this evening, the health authorities again announced that the COVID-19 infection cluster at the Minuwangoda apparel factory went up by another 139 cases. Accordingly, a total of 707 employees of the apparel factory has tested positive for the virus, and this surpasses the 4,000 mark of the confirmed coronavirus cases in the country, keeping the figure as 4,118. Meanwhile, the government today urged all the employees of the Brandix apparel factory at Minuwangoda and their family members not to leave their residencies and stay at homes to assist the government's effort to stop the spread of disease further. At the same time, the Brandix management in a statement said that they regret the matter and they also remain truly appreciative of the support and counsel extended to them by the Presidential Secretariat, Ministry of Defence, Ministry of Health and Sri Lanka Army to navigate through this unexpected bitter experience. Meanwhile, police curfew has been imposed in the areas Minuwangoda, Divulapitiya, Veyangoda and Gampaha police divisions. Further, police also announced that long-distance buses passing the areas where quarantine curfew is in effect will not be allowed to stop, load and unload passengers. At the meantime, the Health Ministry in a statement advised the public to refrain from public gatherings such as exhibitions, large conferences, parties, indoor and outdoor events, carnivals, musical shows, processions anywhere in the country until further notice. Minister of Mass Media Keheli Rambukkala stresses that the next 48 hours is crucial to the country due to the pending results of the PCR test, and he stresses that the public should practice strict COVID-19 precautions to curtail any further transmission and to assist in government's program in curtailing the spread of COVID-19.
Does the government think these more virulent than the previous ones?
Well, whatever the condition, the government has taken the responsibility of curbing it and controlling it. We are taking extra care and extra measures also. But we are not going to just leave it as it is and then take it very lightly. It will be taken very seriously and then appropriate action will be taken.
But the health authorities still trying to get the source of this
That's exactly what they are doing. That is where the investigations are centered too. Because you need to find the source. Because what happens, perhaps there would have been cases and then they would have settled on their own. Now here we have found somebody and we have now, within the last 24 hours, we have taken another 2,000 tests wherever we feel that it should be done, and the results will come by evening or by tomorrow morning. So then we will have to take the appropriate action thereafter.
Complacency has set in controlling COVID-19. Don't you think a new strategy or new mechanism has to be followed to control the
I
new
suppose
wave
this is
of
something
COVID-19?
that needs rapid thinking and rapid changes, because it has to be accordingly. Now you have, as we say, that there have been a complacence, and that has to be looked into, and then the people must take it seriously as to the consequences of this. So therefore there is a major part to the public to assist the government in this regard. And I'm sure that as we know that there are second waves and third waves and there have not been any successful remedies for this as of now. So therefore we have to be very cautious, and then we need to be cautious until we find some remedies to start with. But leave that alone. Yes, it may be. But our being cautious, our being careful, our sort of stick to the regulations and the requests that are made by the government must be adhered.
The Cabinet of Ministers has approved the proposal presented by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa in his capacity as the Minister of Finance to table the appropriation bill for the year 2021 in the Parliament for approval. This was announced by Cabinet spokesman and Mass Media Minister Keheliya Rambukwala today morning. Cabinet approval has been granted for drafting the appropriation bill of the financial year 2020. Accordingly, the total recurrent expenditure for the financial year 2020 is estimated as 2,692 billion rupees and the capital expenditure is estimated as 1,846 billion rupees. Moreover, drafting of the appropriation bill for the next fiscal year was approved by the Cabinet on the 16th September 2020. The Attorney General's clearance has been received for the appropriation bill drafted by the legal draftsman. Accordingly, the Cabinet of Ministers approved the proposal presented by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa in his capacity as the Minister of Finance to publish this appropriation bill for the year 2021 in Parliament for approval. Stay tuned for more news right after this break. Welcome back after the break. Cabinet approval has been given to extend the relief granted for the tourism sector during the post-COVID-19 pandemic period. Accordingly, Cabinet has approved to allocate a provision of 186 million rupees for granting relief to the tourist guides and tourist drivers who are registered under Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority and have lost their living due to COVID-19 pandemic. The Cabinet of Ministers have granted their approval for the proposal submitted by the Minister of Tourism, Prasanna Ranatunga, for awarding the 186 million rupees relief to several groups engaged in the tourism field. Cabinet nod was given for providing one-time payment including a sum of 15,000 rupees per person allowance for the tourist drivers, tourist bus drivers and helpers, tuk-tuk drivers as well as the safari vehicle drivers trained either under the supervision of Sri Lanka Tourist Development Authority or any other tourist associations and applied for the concession as of 31st of August this year. Moreover, sum of 20,000 rupees per person allowance for the tourist guides registered under Sri Lanka Tourist Development Authority and trained by the provincial councils will be provided too. Furthermore, the approval of the Cabinet of Ministers was earlier granted for the opening and maintenance of contemporary deposit accounts named special deposit accounts in order to deposit money remitted into the country across the banking system for a period of 6 months. Accordingly, the valid time of the orders issued is scheduled to be ended tomorrow and therefore several key recommendations have been furnished by Central Bank to enable the foreign exchange remitted to Sri Lanka as per the above orders to be retained within the country for a further period. Thus, it was agreed to pay the interest rates applicable to general term deposits to the special deposit accounts that are renewed and maintained after the maturity of the deposits. Government has decided to permit to transfer the income generated at the maturity of the special deposit accounts to respective accounts within Sri Lanka. Central Bank Governor Professor W.D. Lakshman calls upon the general mass to make use of the Lanka QR code, especially at a time when the country is engulfed with a pandemic. CBSR Governor made these observations addressing the launch of the QR code at the Central Bank in Colombo yesterday.
සමාජය තුළ ඩිජිටල් ගෙවීම් ක්‍රම ප්‍රචලිත කිරීමෙන් රටෙහි මුදල් භාවිතය පවත්වා ගැනීමට දරන පිරිවැය අඩු කරගත හැකි වෙනවා. නව්‍ය තාක්ෂණික ක්‍රමවේද භාවිතය තුළින් දේශීය සහ විදේශීය වෙළඳපොළ අවශ්‍යතා සඳහා රටක් වශයෙන් ශක්තිමත්ව මුහුණ දීමට අපට හැකියාව ලැබෙනවා. එසේම එමගින් රාජ්‍ය සහ පෞද්ගලික අංශවල කාර්යක්ෂමතාව වැඩි දියුණු කිරීම, මූල්‍ය සුරක්ෂිතතාව තහවුරු කිරීම යනාදී තවත් ප්‍රයෝජන රැසක් අත්වන බව මට විශ්වාසයි. මේ සියල්ල මූල්‍ය ක්ෂේත්‍රයේ වර්ධනයටත් ඒ හරහා ආර්ථික සංවර්ධනයටත් මහත් රුකුණක් වනු ඇතැයි අපි අපේක්ෂා කරනවා. COVID-19 වසංගත තත්ත්වය උග්‍රව පැවති කාලය තුළ එම තත්ත්වයට ශක්තිමත්ව මුහුණ දීමට ඩිජිටල් ගෙවීම් ක්‍රම මහත් පහසුවක් වූ බව අපි මෙහිදී සිහිපත් කරන්නට ඕන. කෙසේ වුවත් එම කාලය තුලත් රට තුළ සංසරණය වූ මුදල් ප්‍රමාණය රුපියල් බිලියන 770ක් පමණ වුණා. එම පසුබිම තුළ භෞතික මුදල් පරිහරණය අවම කරන ක්‍රමවේද හඳුන්වා දීම තවදුරටත් කළ යුතු අවශ්‍ය කාරණයක් හැටියට පවතිනවා.
In the meantime, Trade Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena stresses that the financial literacy of our country is low and that there's a large black economy in the country.
දැන් අපේ රට තුළ විශාල වශයෙන් මම දකින විදියට මූල්‍ය සාක්ෂරතාවය ෆයිනෑන්ස් ලිටරසි පහළ මට්ටමක පවතින රටක්. මගේ දැනීමේ හා විශ්වාසයේ හැටියට අපිට මේ මූල්‍ය ක්ෂේත්‍රය තුළ නැති විශාල කළු ආර්ථිකයක් බ්ලැක් ඉකොනොමි එකක් 100 ගාණක් ලෙස කීයක්ද කියලා කියන්න බැරි ප්‍රමාණයක් රටේ පවතිනවා. ඉතින් ඒ තුළ නිල ගණදෙනු සහ නිල නොවන ගණදෙනු ජාතික නිමු සංඛ්‍යා ලේඛන වලට ඇතුළත් නොවෙන්නා වූ කළු ආර්ථික ගණදෙනු විශාල ප්‍රමාණයක් මේ රට තුළ සිද්ධ වෙමින් පවතිනවා. එහිදී විධිමත් මුදල් වෙළඳපොළ තුළ රාජ්‍ය අංශයත් පුද්ගලික අංශයත් සියලු දෙනා මේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා මහා බැංකුව හඳුන්වා දෙන ක්‍රමවේදය වැළඳගතහොත් ඒ අපේ ඉදිරි සංවර්ධනය හා ජයග්‍රහණය සඳහා අතිශයින් වැදගත් වෙනවා කියලා අපි විශ්වාස කරනවා. ඒ වගේම ගරු අග්‍රාමාත්‍යතුමා සඳහන් කළා මේ නව ඩිජිටල් තාක්ෂණික ක්‍රමවේදයේ පොදු ජනතාව අතර හඳුන්වා දීම සඳහා ඔවුන්ට සහනයක් සැලසුණු වස් ඊටම අවම පිරිවැයක් යටතේ හෝ කිසිදු පිරිවැයක් නොදරා ඒ ක්‍රමය සඳහා ඇතුල් වෙන්න ඉඩ ප්‍රස්තාව පුළුල් කරන්නට කියලා. එතුමා මට සඳහන් කළා කිව්වා රුපියල් 100ට වඩා අඩුවෙන් කෙරෙන කුඩා ගණදෙනු කරන අයගෙන් කිසිදු ගාස්තුවක් අය නොකර එය කිරීම සඳහා මැදිහත් වෙන්න කියලා. ඒ වගේම ලංකාවේ සියලුම රාජ්‍ය ආයතන මෙම විද්‍යුත් ගෙවීම් පද්ධතිය භාවිතා කිරීම සඳහා QR කේතකමේ භාවිතා කිරීම සඳහා කැපවීමකින් යුතුව ඉදිරිපත් වුණොත් අපිට ඒ තුළ විශාල ලෙස රාජ්‍ය අංශයේ කාර්යක්ෂමතාවය හා ඵලදායීත්වය වැඩි කළ හැකි බව එතුමා විසින් සඳහන් කරනු ලැබුවා.
Stay tuned for stock updates right after this break. Welcome back after the break. The trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a negative note today. The all-share price index dropped 52.57 points to close at 5,534.61 and the S&P SL 20 dropped 16.29 points to close at 2,272.22. The turnover was 2.8 billion rupees and over 163 million shares were traded. Up next are forex rates. That's all news for today. Next few hours are very crucial for the country, so stay home, stay safe. See you tomorrow with State of Business at the usual time. Until then, take care and good night.